we're going to talk about comparing numbers, something that we think is very, very simple, but can become very, very tricky the higher that we go. So we're just going to go over a few key terms of what you use when you're comparing numbers. Here you have your greater than and less than signs, and those signs will vary based on the numbers that we're using. But nevertheless, they're both greater than or less than signs. Then you have what is called your equal sign. That just means that both numbers are equal. Then you have a more complex use of those signs where you have greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. We won't focus on these two tonight, but however, we're going to focus on how to figure out whether numbers are greater than or less than or equal to. Always remember the alligator. We know that the alligator is very hungry, and the alligator only wants to eat the bigger meal. So if the alligator has a choice, he's going to eat the bigger meal. And just based off the eye test, we automatically know that 16 is less than 18. So the alligator is going to eat 18. That tells you what direction to make your sign. So this would read as 16 is less than 18. Again, this math sentence would be 16 is less than 18. Okay, when comparing numbers, one of the first things that I tell my students to do is to count the digits. Again, digits are just a combination of numbers that form a number. So 9 would be a digit, 8 would be a digit. Together they form 98. 1 would be a digit, 0 would be a digit, 2 would be a digit, and together they form 102. Counting digits is an easy and quick way to figure out which number is greater than or less than the other number. So if you was to count the digits, you would simply say 1, 2. You have 2 digits there. You would say 1, 2, 3. You have 3 digits there. So that automatically tells me that 3 is larger than 2. So that lets me know that 102 is greater than 98. So I could go ahead and put my greater than sign there, because 102 is larger than 98. Let's try with some larger numbers. You do the same thing. Count your digits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you would come to this side and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you know that 5 is larger than 4, so we know that 10,561 is larger than 4,365. So we would simply put our sign there. That's one way to do it. It's pretty simple, pretty easy, allows kids to make quick decisions and keep moving on. Okay, so what if you have a situation where you count the digits and the digits tend to be the same number? What do you do then? When you count the digits and the digits are the same, now you must compare each digit by their respective place value. And you always want to start at the highest place value first. So basically you want to start from left to right with each number. So again, let's do what we will first do. We'll count our digits. We have 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put my 3 up here, circle it. Then I'm going to go over here. I have 1, 2, 3. 3 digits. So both of these numbers have the same amount of digits. Now I have to go place value by place value. So I'm going to start with the 7. There's a 7 here. There's a 7 there. So these two numbers check off. So now I move to the next one. There's a 6 here and a 7 here. These two numbers are different. So now I'm going to compare. You keep checking off until you find two numbers that are different. I know 6 is less than 7. So 7 is greater than 6, which means 771 is greater than 769. Look how I did that. I counted my digits. Then I went place value by place value, starting from the left, working to the right. I didn't start from the ones place. You do not start from the ones place. You start from the highest place value given, and that place value will be the hundreds place. I had a 7 in the hundreds place here, a 7 in the hundreds place there. So they're the same. They check off. We're looking for two different numbers, the first two different numbers. So we found 6 and 7. 7 is greater than 6, so our greater sign will go towards the larger number. Let's try it with some larger numbers. I'm going to do the same thing I would do. I'm going to count my digits. I would simply say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write my 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Write my 5 here. Now I know they have the same amount of digits. Now I'm going to compare place values. Start with the higher place value first, which is the 10,000s place. There's a 4 there and a 4 here. So I can check those off. There's a 5 there, a 5 there. I can check those off. There's a 3 here and a 3 here. I can check those off. There's a 2 here, but a 1 here. I found my different numbers. Now I compare the two numbers. 2 is greater than 1. So I know the alligator wants to eat the larger number. So I know 45,321 is larger than 45,311. And I just simply counted my digits first, came up with 5 and 5. Then I compared my place values. We have a 4 and a 4, 5 and a 5, 3 and a 3, but then we have a 2 and a 1, which gives us two different numbers. Now we can do our comparing. So now let's look at a few examples. Say you have more than one number that needs to be compared at a time. You never compare more than two numbers at a time. You only compare two numbers at a time. Again, you only compare two numbers at a time. So the first two numbers I'm going to start with are these two. I'm going to do my same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know they have the same amount of digits. Now I'm going to go by place value. There's a 4 here, 4 here. They check off. There's a 6 here, 6 there. They check off. We have a 2 here and a 3 there. So now we have our difference. But I know 3 is greater than 2. So that number is greater. Now I'm going to compare this number with this number. I count the digits, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I do it all over again. We have a 4 here, 4 here. So they check off. Have a 6 here, 6 here. They check off. We have a 3 here and a 2 here. Different numbers. I know 3 is larger than 2. So that one would go that way. I do the same method going here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Count my digits. Now I compare place values. There's a 4 here, 4 there. They check off. There's a 6 here, but a 1 here. So there's my difference. 6 is greater than 1. And you're done. Now you have compared all those numbers. Let's look at the next one. We count our digits. 1, 2, 3. And here, 1, 2, 3. Now I compare my numbers. 9 here, 9 here. they check off. 6 here, 6 here, they check off. 8 here, 8 here, they check off. So all the checks, that tells me these numbers are equal. One last example. We're going to do the same thing. We count our digits. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we have the same amount of digits. Now we go place value by place value. There's a 1 there, 1 there. They check off. There's a 3 here, 3 here. They check off. We have a 2 here and a 2 here. They check off. We have a 1 here, but a 5 here. So they don't check off. But I know 5 is greater than 1. So my alligator would eat that way. Those are just some quick tips on how to compare numbers. Hope they helped you. Bye-bye.